Get ready to step into the unknown with the shadow frequency. This is the podcast where the mysterious meets the mind-blowing. Guided by your host, Matt Wilson. I'm here to tune you in to the hidden wavelengths that he's ready to explore. Those eerie, elusive signals that ripple through the shadows of our world. From the unexplained and the uncanny to the fringes of science and secrets. Matt's got the curiosity and the courage to dig deep. So settle in, turn up the volume, and let's join him as he uncovers what's humming out there on the shadow frequency.
Welcome, listeners, to the shadow frequency, where we tune into the strange, the unexplained, and the downright eerie. I'm your host, Matt Wilson, and tonight we're diving into a mystery that's been buzzing in the paranormal world for decades. It's a story of a fiery object falling from the sky, a small town thrown into chaos, and whispers of a government cover-up that just won't die. We're talking about the Kecksburg UFO incident, so grab your headphones, dim the lights, and let's step into the shadows together. It's December 9th, 1965 in Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, a quiet little town about 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. The day's winding down, folks are settling in for the evening when suddenly the sky lights up. Witnesses, dozens of them, report seeing a blazing streak of fire cutting across the horizon. It's not just a shooting star. This thing is big, bright, and moving slow enough to catch everyone's attention. People in Ohio, Michigan, and even Canada spot it too. But it's in Kecksburg where the real story begins. At around 4:47 p.m., this fiery object crashes into a wooded area just outside town. Locals describe it as an acorn-shaped thing about the size of a small car, glowing with an eerie golden hue. One witness, a kid named Bill Buellbar, says he saw it hit the ground and kick up a plume of blue smoke. Another guy, a volunteer firefighter, named James Romansky, claims he got just close enough to see the strange hieroglyphic-like markings etched into its metallic surface, symbols that didn't look like anything human-made. Now here's where it gets wild. Before the townsfolk can figure out what's going on, the military rolls in fast. We're talking trucks, jeeps, and men in uniforms swarming the crash site. Witnesses say they cordoned off the area, keeping everyone at bay. A flatbed truck allegedly hauls something away under a tarp that night, and by morning, it's like nothing ever happened. Official story, it was just a meteor, case closed. But, if you're like me, you're already raising an eyebrow. Let's break this down a bit, because the Kecksburg incident has more layers than a haunted onion. First off, the speed of the military response is nuts. This isn't some random field in the middle of nowhere. It's a small town, and yet the Army's there in what feels like minutes. Locals say they saw some NASA officials as well. And, NASA, being space agency, showing up for a supposed meteor crash, that's not their usual gig. Then there's the object itself, an acorn-shaped craft with hieroglyphics. That doesn't scream space rock to me. Witnesses like Romansky stuck to their stories for years, insisting it was metallic, structured, and definitely not natural. Some even claimed that it maneuvered before it crashed, like it was, under control. Compare that to the official explanation, a meteor that just happened to burn up and land conveniently in Kecksburg. Sure, meteors streak across the sky all the time, but they don't leave behind bell-shaped hunks of metal with writing on them. And here's the kicker. Radio reports that night tracked this thing zigzagging across multiple states before it went down. Meteors don't zigzag, they fall. So what was it? A downed satellite? A secret Soviet probe? Or, dare I say it, an extraterrestrial visitor? Now let's talk cover-up, because this is where the shadow frequency really lives. The military's tight-lipped response set off some alarm bells. Witnesses claimed they were told to keep quiet, and some even reported being intimidated. One guy, a news reporter named John Murphy, was on the scene that night recording interviews and taking photos. he was set to air a special called Object in the Woods. But get this, days before it aired, he got a visit from two men in black suits. Classic Men in Black vibes, right? They confiscated his tapes, and when the special finally aired, it was watered down to nothing. Murphy later told friends he regretted ever getting involved. He died in a hit and run a few years later. Coincidence, you think? You tell me. Then there's the physical evidence, or lack thereof. The flatbed truck hauled something out of Kecksburg, but where'd it go? Rumor has it that the object ended up at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, a place already infamous for its alleged ties to Roswell. In 2005, NASA finally released some documents after pressure from researchers claiming the debris was from a Soviet satellite called Cosmos 96. But here's the rub. Cosmos 96 crashed a day earlier in Canada, not Pennsylvania. Oops. So what do we make of all this? Well, the Kecksburg UFO, a genuine close encounter, hushed up by a government terrified of the truth? Or was it just a cosmic misunderstanding blown out of proportion by a spook town? I lead toward the former, and here's why. The consistency of the eyewitness accounts, the speed of the military lockdown, and the sketchy official explanations don't add up to meteor. Plus, those hieroglyphics, if they're real, point to something intelligent, something not from around here. In 2003, a guy named Stan Gordon, a UFO researcher who's been obsessed with Kecksburg for years, got a mock-up of the object built for a TV special. It's still on display in Kecksburg today, a big shiny acorn thing that draws tourists and truth seekers alike. The town even hosts a yearly UFO festival because if you can't beat the mystery, you might as well celebrate it. But here's what keeps me up at night. If this was a craft, who or what was inside? Did it crash by accident or was it shot down? And if the government has it locked away somewhere, what else are they hiding in those shadowy hangars? Well, that's all I've got time for tonight, folks. The Kecksburg UFO incident remains one of those tantalizing mysteries that keeps us tuning into the shadow frequency. Was it a visitor from the stars, a Cold War relic, perhaps, or just a really weird rock? I want to hear your thoughts, so drop me your thoughts in the comments if you like. Next time, who knows what we're going to dig into? I really don't know until I get really close to showtime. But until then, keep your eyes on the skies and your mind open to the unknown. This is Matt Wilson signing off from the shadows. Stay curious, stay spooky, and I'll catch you on the next frequency.